Lads, we're so back. You brothers absolutely lit up the last video. I think the max videos I ever had on a view was like 250, and then I woke up and I had 1,500 views. Whoa! So we're back, we're doing another one, and not just because I got so many views, but because they came out with a roadmap 2. Okay, we got another developer coming out talking about, here's some new stuff, guys. So I have a list here. First thing on the list, this video is specifically about a lot of the technical aspects of the game. Now, they do talk about maps and stuff like that, but again, more so about the technical aspects of the maps, but we'll get into that later. As of now, they did talk about game development, performance, optimization, all of that stuff. So in their words, one of the first things he said was they are refining content, squashing bugs, and optimizing performance, which is basically just, you know, fancy talk for we're working on the game and it's going well. But you can't ask for much more. I think they had most of the game done, you know, stuff like that. So you can't ask for much more. They're making the game as best as we can be, and that's great because we don't want a cyberpunk situation. This game needs to be able to drop and be playable and be fun for us to just binge during the Christmas time of the year. Like I said before, they did focus on aspects such as game performance and animations. On these technical aspects, they said they wanted to focus on the battle arrangement of everything. They wanted to focus on the action. So like for animations, for example, one of the examples they used, they specifically stated that they worked on animations for characters like Hulk and Magic, which one could assume that he is talking about the kind of transformation state. They wanted that to be a little more smoother, a little more watchable, if you will. So they said they're working on stuff like that to kind of make the game smoother and the performance better. Gameplay wise, they also said they adjusted the hit effect, so kind of like the hit marker for elemental decals and powers and stuff like that to be more visible over long distance and to intensify the impact of the attack. The example they used for that was Mantis and Hela's left click, so just kind of small little nitty-gritty details that they've been working on to make the game more enjoyable from a visual aspect and auditorial aspect and things like that. Like I said before, he did state that the hierarchy of the game performance now prioritizes battle and the fights. So yes, the game still will be smooth when you're loading in, it's going to be smooth while you're waiting, it's going to be smooth when there's nothing going on, but he said for the development of the game, they did want to focus on prioritizing battle and action, and if you played the beta or the alpha, you would understand why, because it was kind of duty butt. If anyone transformed into Hulk, if anyone opened a Doctor Strange portal, the game crapped itself. It was awful. So it's really good that they're letting us know at least beforehand, hey, we've been working on this. We want the game to run properly. We don't want your computer to crap itself. We want you to have fun, and we want the game to be above, you know, slideshow amount of frames. With that, they also have just been doing a ton of technical and UI aspects. One of the main things they talked about was audio and the audio mixing for the game. They wanted to focus on cues. So if you couldn't hear footsteps, if you couldn't hear attacks, they wanted to focus on things that were dangerous to the player specifically, so that there was really no excuse for a player to say, well, I can't hear the footsteps, I can't hear this attack coming, I can't hear any of that. They wanted to enhance all of that so that it would be easier for us on our end to hear those things and play the game without having to worry about, I don't know, someone's here, there, or whatever. Which personally, I don't think necessarily needed to be worked on. I think it was okay, but that's great. The fact that someone like me, I think it was fine, and they're still working to make it better is a really good sign. They also said that they were working on the UI for specific heroes. Now, with that being said, they didn't say which specific heroes, but they did say for specific heroes, they were working on the UI specifically for things like, you know, left and right clicks, knowing when your abilities are reloaded, knowing when you can use them, as opposed to, you know, oh, I'm out and I didn't know because the UI is trash, which again, I don't think that needed to be working on, but the fact that they worked on it, another really good sign. A huge thing to me in this roadmap video was the fact that he basically said, we're listening to you guys. One of the things he mentioned was they were gathering a crap ton of data during these alphas and these betas, which is great to hear, because that's all you want. You want a developer to listen to you. You want them to take what you have to say and work on it. And with that being said, he didn't say what they did specifically. I think they do have a released version of patch notes that we can go look at. But he basically said, like, we listen to you guys. We took the data. Like, for example, we nerfed Magneto. and then we buffed Jeff and Loki. So they basically didn't say anything, but he said a lot by saying, like, we listen to you guys, we want to know what you have to say, and we do buff and we do nerf, and we're going to do everything we can to keep the game fair and balanced and fun for everybody. On top of that, he basically just said every other hero has gone through rigorous testing to figure out, you know, whether they were fit to play or OP or whatever the case may be, specifically the new heroes that we have not got to play yet because they have no feedback. But with that being said, they did also say, hey, we know you haven't got to play Cap, Bucky, Moon Knight. We've done the testing, but we also are gonna listen to you guys. Like, once the game hits launch, tell us what you want changed. Tell us if Moon Knight's OP. Tell us if Bucky is trash. So they're gonna listen to us, which is another huge piece of news that I personally am really excited about. Is they are launching on the game's launch, they will also be launching an official Marvel Rivals website, and not just a website. It's like, read about the game, apply to be a game tester. No. An official website that would hold data of your account, of your stats, of your games. Now, to me, this is a big deal because I can think of 1,000,001 games that have a website like this, but players made it. It's not an official website for game X, Y, or Z. It's a website where you can look up your stats, but it's not sponsored by the game. It's not created by the game itself. So to have the actual creators of the game itself, launch their own website, it's going to be elite because you're getting 100% official stats of your KD, of your win rate, anything you can think of. You're getting the stats straight from the game rather than from a third-party source that thinks they're getting the official stats from your game. You know what I mean? Which is just super exciting because like I said, they're going to be one of the few games who has ever done this. If that. There are not many games that make their own website for you to look at your stats. So it's going to be amazing because hopefully everyone can look at everyone's stats, and then, you know, there's a sharing of information there. It's just going to be perfect. Okay, and I know I've said this for every single one, but another piece of huge news that we have gotten is the official reveal of the 5 maps that they said we're going to get on launch that were new. With this, they said that the maps they've gone through rigorous testing. They've worked on collision smoothing, they've worked on performance, they've worked on optimization, and they went ahead and revealed the 5 maps that we didn't know about before. 4 for normal modes, 1 for conquest, whatever. So the first 2 maps that we got are specifically Wakandan maps, similar to that of the Asgardian maps. They're similar in design and architecture and all that sort of stuff, but they're different maps. So the first one I did mention in my last video, which was going to be Birnin T'Challa. Just another really cool, both of these are just these first 2 are, like I said, are Wakandan maps. Really cool design. They're gonna have really cool monuments. The next one is gonna be the Hall of Djalia, and those 2 are gonna be specifically Wakandan, but for different game modes. So the Birnin T'Challa is gonna be only for domination, whereas the Hall of Djalia is gonna be specifically for convergence. Domination being the one where you just hold the objective, and convergence being the one where you have to capture something first and then escort it. So it's not like you're escorting the whole time. It's kind of like the Tokyo 2099, where you have to capture the Spider-Mobile first and then escort it to its thing. So like I said, Birnin T'Challa for domination, Hall of Djalia for convergence. With that being said, there are some really cool aspects about this, which is that I thought it was already original for them to do sort of the obstructing environments in the first place, but they are adding on to it like you would not believe. They're going to be implementing their own kind of map destruction or obstruction or whatever you want to call it, specific to each map, kind of. So for example, for the Wakandan ones, we're getting one called the Wrath of the Orisha. The Orisha being the Wakandan pantheon, the Wakandan gods in the Marvel comics. So what it's going to be is it's basically destroying certain structures on the map, or, you know, doing certain things to the map will then release the wrath of the Wakandan gods. So it'll be playing here, but an example of this would be you destroy something and now you can float on this part of the map or something like that, which I think is so cool. The next one we're going to be getting is Hydra's Charteris base, called Hell's Heaven. This is going to be for a domination game mode. They described it as the volcanic heart of Antarctica to shut down, or you're going to be infiltrating the volcanic heart of Antarctica to shut down Hydra's interdimensional power. This base is this map is really cool because it's something that, as opposed to the Wakandan one, it changes, but you don't have to do anything. You don't have to destroy something for it to change over here. It's going to be changing definitively by itself on repeat, which I think is going to could be annoying, but I think initially is going to be really cool because it's going to allow us to experience that without having to actually do anything. And you could be mid-game. It can completely change the way the game is going depending on how the map moves, how it changes, and how the game is going. Specifically for that map, they will be calling that one the Hydra's Invasion Protocol. So it's the base's reaction to being invaded in a sense. Next up, personally, my favorite one that was announced, we have a Clintar map. It will be called the Symbiotic Surface. This will be specifically for a convergence game. And as you probably guessed, it will revolve around the symbiotes and being on Clintar and how the symbiotes are going to react, which I think is so sick. For this map, they call it Living Symbiosis. It's really cool, basically similar to the Wakandan one. You know, depending on what you destroy, what you obstruct, you know, a symbiote may create a bridge, it might create a wall, it might create a cover, anything of that sort, which I think is so unique and so cool. And that's why this game is going to be great, boys. That's why, okay? Because sure, other games could do map obstruction and all this different stuff, but this is Marvel. There's so many things you could do. Already getting the Wakandan Pantheon, already getting symbiotes. This is gas, and I'm by no means ever going to complain. I might if I'm losing and getting crapped on, but that's neither here nor there. And the final map, which is for Conquest, but it's still a cool map. It's going to be another Tokyo 2099 map called Warped Ninomaru. Again, it's going to be a conquest map, and the main thing about this map is that in the middle of the sky is basically a portal. It's the portal, the interdimensional portal. So one of the really cool things about this is the center of the map is a you know, a Tokyo style tower, and if that gets destroyed or anything gets destroyed under that, it immediately goes into the portal. Obviously it will regenerate, that's how the game works. However, it's really cool because, you know, if someone's camping or hiding, it's a team deathmatch, you're trying to kill them, you can destroy that environment and just go to town. It's going to immediately get obstructed, boom, go through the portal, and it's basically a wide open map. The whole map changes, so really cool for that one. Other than that, like they said, they got a new practice range, which they still have yet to show us, so it's kind of, who cares, you know? We're only really going to use a practice range to test out the new heroes anyways, so. And then after that, it was just some little technical stuff that I thought was really cool for them to share with us. They did say that, you know, even with the testing, there was a rigorous cheating algorithm in place, anti-cheat algorithm in place, I should say, that helped them. They actually said it helped them keep cheating below 1%, which is really cool. I also think it's really cool. It's just going to be a fun game that everyone's going to want to play. I don't think anyone's going to want to cheat off rip at least, and ruin the fun for people. It's going to be really fun. They said they're actually working on an original anti-cheat system, so that's great news. You're not going to have to deal with your CODs or your Apexes where everyone's cheating and it's a whole thing. And then they closed it out with some really exciting news, which is that, I mean, obviously it's probably a good sign, but they said it for season 1, which would be not this first on launch, but the season starting in January, everything is pretty much done. Characters, maps, UI, everything is done for season 1, which is really exciting. And with that being said, he said they are already currently working on future seasons, 2, 3, 4, 5, you name it. They're already working on it. They're planning characters, they're planning maps, they're planning game modes, they're planning abilities, anything you can think of, they're working on, which is amazing, amazing, amazing news to hear. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Personally, I love that they're not only sharing these things with us, but that it's just great news. I mean, these are people who genuinely care about the game. They genuinely want to see it succeed. And personally, I'm a huge Marvel fan, so I'm so excited for this game to come out. I cannot wait to play it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you like this, if you don't like this, if you're excited for the game, if you hate the game, if you think it's an Overwatch copycat, wrong. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. I have to wait any longer in this game, I'm gonna combust. When it comes out, I'm just gonna bust.